Hi, my name is Rick, and I'd like to give a testimonial for Swartz Electric. We've had our house for almost 10 years now, and we were able to ask for a number of things when it was built, but it turned out some of the things we thought we needed, we didn't, and then other things that we didn't see coming in terms of technology or the amount of electric they would draw or where in the house they would need to have that electric, we had no idea about. And so about 10 years later, we realized we need some help. And this is way over our own heads. We looked in a variety of different places, but we finally decided to go with Swartz Electric. Let me tell you why. I think there were a number of things that, when I think about the way they helped us, is the reason why we've called them back to do even more work and have another third phase in what we plan to do. First of all, they work to our schedule. We had some equipment that was coming that needed to be hooked up at a certain time. Not only the circuits provisioned, which they did, but also the hookup to make sure everything was working. We didn't want to have contractor A put something together that contractor B didn't approve of. We wanted everything to work when it was all over. They absolutely met that requirement in terms of, they met our schedule. They were concerned for our safety, I think is the second thing. One of the pieces of equipment that we had installed required a county license for. And we're not blowing anything up or anything, but I didn't realize that. They let us know, and they even said, look, we'll call the county to come and inspect this. They'll be here tomorrow. I'm like, wow. I said, well, I said, you have to do this? And he said, the problem isn't right now, but the problem is when you come to sell your house, you're not going to be able to sell it unless you have this particular county approval. I said, wow, thank you. So, and it's funny because the inspector came out the next day. He said, who did your work? And I said, Swartz Electric. He said, yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. All the grounds, all the necessary, stuff. I can't even explain it. I know amps and watts, and that's about it. But they were fantastic, and they looked around the corner anticipating what our needs were going to be, and so being concerned for our safety was part of it. And then lastly, this kind of sounds corny, but they cared for us in a way that you don't often see. And I'll try to keep this short, but my father-in-law has lived with us for 10 years. And when we got this house, he was living with us in a slow decline, as happens sometimes. And he passed away last year. And wow, about the same time he passed away, these little photoelectric lights that were his night lights, they went off. They no longer worked. And it's some photo cell that's like $2 or $3. And my wife, she mentioned the fact that these lights no longer worked. And she kind of teared up, and she said, it's like he's gone. And I said, honey, we got a contract, we got a lot to do, take that emotion, and go somewhere with it. But, these guys have work to do. And about a half an hour later, one of the electricians came up and said, sir, I put a new cell in. It just needed to be replaced, and all the night lights were on. And my wife was tearing up, just kind of like I am right now. Normally it's like, well, that's going to be an extra $2.50, and we're going to have to, charge you for the labor. And instead of doing the kind thing, the thing that was honest. I mean, we spent a whole lot more on the contract for all the work we did. We had some 220 amp things and all this other kind of wiring. So in many ways, it was more than paid for. But the fact that they didn't do anything but what we really wanted about this, I think it speaks to to the integrity of the ownership, to the way that kind of servanthood and DNA is infused in everyone who works for Swartz. So to close up probably a long story, I would recommend Swartz for all your electrical needs. I think they're absolutely competent. Their word is their bond. They do great work. And they're the kind of partner in your home and your business that you can rely on for all things electrical. Finding one contractor that can do all these things, that's hard to find. And we found the one that we need with Swartz Electric.